and welcome to my studio. My name is Debbie Rijns and I'm speaking to you from a beautiful warm South African day, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what I do and the classes I'm going to be presenting at the Art and Soul Retreat next year in Portland. I thought rather than demo some of the projects, I really thought it would be fun if I could show you what inspires me to come up with some of the items that I create. South Africa is full of things natural things that become truly wonderful with the addition of mixed medias, precious metal clays, silkworm cocoons, flower pods, dried fruit, you name it. So let's have a look at some of the things that really inspire me. All right, so let me show you the projects that I'm going to be teaching at the Art and Soul Retreat in Portland, Oregon next year. And the first one is called Bottle in a Bottle. Now these little bottles contain a small vial which contains a special meaning or a prayer or a wish, and then treasures, things that have been special to you. Sand from a romantic holiday. I've got an amber bead in there from Russia. I have a bit of Russian ancestry, different beads. I've got some gold nuggets in there representing South Africa. And I've used ethnic beads to embellish the piece. And of course it has a precious metal clay cap and embellishments on the top. Here's another version with different beads hanging from it. What's inside this little bottle is an African banknote. We have a little piece of, tiny little piece of ivory from 60 years ago, some Russian amber, a carved carnelian turtle, a bell, a coin, all sorts of things that mean something to me. Some of the beads I've used as well. Here's some Baltic amber, as you can see here. This is comes from the marula tree, and I'm sure you've seen the advert for a marula liqueur. The fruit from this tree actually causes the elephants and monkeys to go so drunk that it's just not funny. Nothing funnier than seeing a monkey run around that's eaten a marula fruit. So I love the seeds. They're big and they're chunky and they've got a lot of character. What I have here also are some mud beads from Swaziland. I try and find all sorts of ethnic and unusual beads from wherever I go. Here we have an assortment of African beads as well. We have some Ethiopian silver, African trade beads, and this is a string of snake vertebra. Now, on its own, I don't think I would use it for a necklace, but little bits here and there really make a nice impact. So those are some of the beads I use, and of course I use other ephemera and things that I've collected over the years. So that's a really fun project to do. The next one is the Sangoma Secret, which is a little wooden box. Now a Sangoma is actually a South African shaman, and they carry these with either bones or shells or medicinal leaves in them. But of course, when you make yours, you can use it for any treasure you like. Now the little bowls, which are beautiful, are made by my wonderful husband Leon. The lid is precious metal clay, and again, an assortment of African beads, which I've collected over the years. This one has a leather hinge. I wanted to do something different, so I've made a leather hinge for this piece, and it's kept in place with tiny little brass pins. Here's another version of the same project, and if you're going to join my class, you have a choice of which one you're going to make. This is a little half bowl with a lid on it, also with a precious metal clay embellishment on the top, a little carnelian bead, an African amber bead, and some silver on the bottom as well, and some Ethiopian beads that are dangling from the side of it. And then the last one is my porcupine quill spoons. I've made these for so long now, and I just sell them so quickly that I actually only have two to show you right now. Here we have one spoon that's been embellished with African trade beads. The spoon itself is precious metal clay. I've used copper wire on it. This is a very plain one that was part of a set for an order. I made an extra one, and it has just a plain porcupine quill, but I will be embellishing this with wires and cords and beads just to make the piece pop a little more. I'd like to show you a few other things that actually inspire me when I'm creating my pieces. I love working with silkworm cocoons. Now in South Africa we have what we call a mapani worm, and it makes a shell that is really rock hard. And here's one, I actually dyed this one purple for a specific project. And here's one in its natural state. But because of the way it was attached to the stem, it was just asking to be made into a spoon. It's attached to the bottom. Of course, it's only for display. I wouldn't use this for something, but to have that framed would be quite beautiful. Here is a half a mapani worm, which makes a nice shell if you want to dangle something from it. Here's another one. Also, a little bit of precious metal clay on the stem, and that one was made into a pendant. They're really very strong, very hard to break if you try and squash it. And here's another little cocoon. Everybody knows the silkworm cocoon. I use those in some of my work as well. The next item is the shapes. I think the bowls actually came from nature as well, because here we have a dried pomegranate. I love the shape of these. They're wonderful. And in our garden we have what's called a narchi tree. Now a narchi in American terms is just a tangerine, but the birds got to this lot, and all of these narchis or tangerines fell to the ground, and they're all these little dried pods, and I thought they were so exquisite. I'm going to be using those also for a project. They would make a beautiful little container as well. We have a wonderful tree in our yard called the coral tree. It's now in full flower, and this is what the flower looks like. And this tree gives off some beautiful little red pods. I hope you can see those there. And I use them when I do make silver pods. I pop them in and close them in the piece, and the red shows off beautifully against the silver. Next thing is, I love ostrich eggshells, and this is one of the items that I've been making. And here you see a little bit of a precious metal clay embellishment on it. It's lined in gold foil, and it's been embellished with African trade beads. There's a silver foot for the bottom, also made from precious metal clay. Oops. And here's the ostrich eggshell as I receive it. The pieces also make lovely insets for jewelry. Another thing I really love to use is sea bamboo. When we have the chance to go down to Cape Town, we go down to the beach and I collect the sea bamboo. This is a pod that I'm actually working on at the moment. When I find these, they have all the leaves flowing from the bottom, and they have a tube for a neck, and I cut that off. I have a piece of bronze clay there on the front, and I've inserted some porcupine quills. This is a piece in the making. I think I'm going to put a handle on it with some beads and hang it as a wall pocket. I've drilled a hole in the bottom so that I can add some dangles as well. I'm quite excited to see how this turns out. Here's another item I made from sea bamboo. This is a ring set in precious metal clay, and the sea bamboo contains lemon quartz crystals, and they are set in cement mixed with sand from Namibia. I really like to mix all sorts of things together. That's quite a zinger of a ring, but it's one of my favorites. And another item, also with sea bamboo, is a project I designed for a precious metal clay retreat. It has brush bristles coming out of the sea bamboo. There's a pot in the middle, African trade beads, and another very special piece, very African, very ethnic. And the last thing I would like to show you, because I just felt it made such an impact, is I have a friend who lives in Mozambique, and her company sells carved African items, and they make jewelry from bone, animal horns, and she wanted to know how she could embellish her pieces with precious metal clay to make an impression. So I just wanted to show you this, because this is the carving, a beautiful face. The wood is gorgeous and smooth, a really well done carving, and all we did was add a tiny little piece of precious metal clay, and look at the difference it made to this piece. It wasn't overdone, very simplified, but it really brings the piece to life. Well, I don't think I've forgotten anything. Thank you for joining me in my studio here today, And I do hope that if you have a chance, you'll join me in one of my classes at the Art and Soul Retreat. And I look forward to meeting you, and tot ziens, which means till I see you again. Bye-bye now.